are ahead by 7 points to 6. Well, we knew there would be a big crowd in here to say farewell to the Boulevard. 12,000 have come along to bid farewell to the grand old lady, and their players have put on a treat for 40 minutes. 12,000 inside the Boulevard, and let's hope, as Steve-O said in the first half, that every one of the 12,000 here follow them across to the brand new stadium at the start of next year. They've enjoyed what they've seen, and why shouldn't they? Great atmosphere. The attendance record, by the way, nearly 29,000 against Leeds in the Challenge Cup quarter-final in March 1936. And those floodlights that are burning brightly, they were first switched on September the 8th, 1967, for a game against Barrow. Richard Horne, who was sure to figure in David Waite's plans for the Test series. And talking of Test matches, there have been 4 Test matches played on this very ground, and a whole host of World Cup ties as well. But this is a nostalgic night as they say farewell to the Boulevard for the last time in 107 years. We're underway, and it was Michael Smith's first drive-in. New Zealanders with first use of the football. I bet they're looking for a bright opening to the second half, picking up the pace where they left off at the end of the first 40.
Well, he's looking for a big game, hasn't he? Castleford forward Michael Smith had a stint here at Hull. Not the best of times either. He made it quite clear before this game that there was no love lost between him and this Hull club, so he wants a big night.
Yes, he was here in 1999, Michael Smith. A good chip over the top by the half-back Hohaya, and well claimed by Matt Crowther, under pressure from Banganar and also Fafili.
Spotted it well though. Knew that the kick was coming, put him in himself in a good position.
Craig Poucher plays the ball, and here come Hull now trying to get this ball away from their own line. That's Sean Ryan underneath all of that. He plays the ball to Lee Jackson. Jackson then to Paul King.
Well, the Kiwis are doing exactly what Hull did in the opening minutes, and that's get out of the blocks very quickly indeed. On this occasion, they're forcing the Hull side into virtually one-out football.
Stephen Kearney's down on haunches as Tony Smith dabs the ball over the top, and it's collected by Lee Jackson. Now Jackson has got players either side, dumps it back off the fingers of Tony Smith. It was backwards, says Robert Connolly, still the last. And that was collected by Francis Melly, and he will try and work the ball back for the Kiwis. Right, let's go down and join Bill Arthur for the half-time news. Bill?
Eddie, Sean McRae, the Hull FC coach, pretty pleased with that effort from his side in the first 40 minutes. Just a bit worried at the way the Kiwis were allowed to maybe come back into the game towards the end of the first 40 and given a bit too much room to manoeuvre, and he wants his side to be, as Steve-O's already put his finger on it, quicker out of the blocks and getting into their faces as they were early on. And as far as Gary Freeman goes, well, satisfied with the first workout for his team on this tour. They've got plenty of aggression, or they've met plenty of aggression from Hull early on, and that's no bad thing. One of 2 cobwebs blown away, and he's really just concerned that they might just be trying to be playing a bit too much football too early on. They've first of all got to get in control of the game before they start to throw it around. He's saying that he's got 1 or 2 people out there who like to do that, and they've just got to steady on a little bit.
Well, now they hunt the mistake here. That is Paul Cook, and he was tackled by his opposite number, Owen Guttenbiel.
Well, Bill, as he just mentioned about Gary Freeman, he's certainly got it right. They forced the pass far too often. Good run though by King in that first half.
Jackson, Tony Smith, wide it goes, and that was Chris Chester. And here goes Sean Ryan. Big man Ryan. Can't get away from Logan Swan though, or Motu Tony. That's the last. 10 metres, 20 metres rather, inside the New Zealanders' half of the field. There's a high kick from Tony Smith. This is interesting. That's been allowed to bounce and flicked on.
There'll be a knock on.
Flicked on again. Yes, a knock-on is the decision.
I just wanted to word for the advantage rule. They added Robert Connolly. You saw a quick shot of Sean McRae, not happy with it really, and I don't think Gary Freeman will be quite impressed by it. The fact that not one of his players actually conceded that high kick. Can't afford to do that.
Gutenbiel now for the Kiwis. Beetham floats the ball inside to Ruben Wiki. Canberra Raiders. 95 and 2000 World Cup for Ruben Wiki. Stephen Kearney likewise. Bags of experience. A dab over the top. But it's all gathered in safely by Tony Smith.
Good work from the hooker there, Monty Beetham. It's the first real glimpse of his skills. And the only second time he's run from the dummy half position. Neat little chip over the top. But Tony Smith's been around too long to be caught out with that one.
Here we go.
Well, this is the opening match of the New Zealanders tour, and they have the Test series coming up against Great Britain, those 3 Saturday evenings in November. The information line for any detail you might require, 0113 2329 111. 3 tests against Great Britain, a match in a week's time against the English at Brentford in London, and also a game against the Welsh in Cardiff on Sunday week. Looking forward to them all. And this now is Vialicki, who scored the opening try on this tour for the New Zealanders in that first half.
Well, as Phil Clark made it quite clear, and they're forcing the error again, trying to get the pass away when it's really not on.
That was the winger Francis Melly. And Hull have possession now, and they've got a chance here to do something with it. Good offload by Ryan to Jackson. Jackson then to Adam Marr. Big hit then. Big hit on Adam Marr, and there is a Hull player flat out. Is it Jackson? Is it King?
I think it's Jackson actually.
Here is Tony Smith. Big hit there from Gutenbiel.
Who has lost it. Tony Smith has knocked on and has stopped the clock, and rightly so. It looks like Lee Jackson really is in a lot of trouble. Oh, it was knocked out, deliberate, and has the official seen that? The Kiwis are holding the football, and as you can see, he's taking some time to
shake your time off because he never moved.
Get back into the swing of things.
Knocked on, mate. Knocked on, yeah.
Okay. We've got to restart with the scrum down. New Zealand
substitution sees the return.
We've got to restart with the scrum down.
Well, he spotted the knock on. That's why Lee Jackson is receiving treatment. There's a heavy bang, wasn't it?
We've got to restart with the scrum down.
His last appearance for Hull.
Coach said you knocked out the last play of the ball.
And this is on the build-up to it.
Okay.
They're pretty tough, aren't they, the Kiwis? They're getting into it. He knows that they will come back with vengeance. Just hoping, of course, that Lee Jackson's going to be okay.
It looks like he is. He's taking his place in the scrum. He hadn't moved for a minute or so. That's why Robert Connolly rightly held the clock up. And here is Vangenaar. Nigel Vangenaar, formerly with Warrington, remember, but 23 tries in 24 appearances in the NRL this year. Meanwhile, this is Logan Swan.
Just getting back to that decision by the official, I thought that was not a knock-on against Hull. I thought it was the other way around. I thought it was reefed out by a Kiwi. But they don't like the fact that they got away with the shepherd.
Richard Swain on to Stephen Kearney.
Well, Sean Ryan, he'll tackle all night, that's for sure.
There's Swain's kick downfield, and it bobbles in front of Crowther.
Well, that rather surprised me that they went for a low kick rather than a high one. Phil Clark mentioned at half-time that the wind is in the favour of the Kiwis, so therefore they really want to be utilising that.
Paul King, drive in, met by Richard Swain, who'll join Brisbane next year. And they've conceded the penalty now, messing around, stopping Paul King from getting back to his feet.
And it was a good Academy Award, a little noddy from King. Oh, big hit. Kearney didn't miss.
Sean Ryan again now for Hull.
Just basic football, that's all Hull need.
They're giving him a good go, aren't they?
Yeah. No
Paul
fancy
King.
stuff, just hard yakka.
Good hands from Tony Smith to Jason Smith, and then anything but good hands. And it's hacked forward here by Ohio, and he'll hack it forward again, and he'll hack it forward again, and he has got some support out here from the winger. Oh, has he lost that, Farfili, or has he scored?
I think he's got it down.
Now, has the referee decided he will go to the video
Check the
referee?
screen, please. Look for offside. Look for the grounding also.
Wants offside, and he wants the grounding to be checked. Farfili believes he scored it.
Well, it was a bad pass, wasn't it? The knock on, and he played the advantage. No doubt about that. Was he pulled back, the halfback?
Well, the thing is, by the fact that Ohio hacks it forward, and he's there again, he's playing everyone on side, so there's no problem here.
No, he just
with
wants
the
to
onside.
check it. Yeah, and that's it. And I don't think there's any problem with the touchdown either. He gets it and places it down.
You're right.
That's right. Well, it came from an error. Tony Smith was running on the angle and just lunged with the arm. And quick thinking there by the halfback, Ohio. Neat kick through, kept his cool, try time.
Again, the try greeted with a deafening silence. Henry Farfili, he was a Samoan in the World Cup, now very much a New Zealander. And the threatening stand giving Robert Connolly a bit of a round, I think.
Well, they had him on the rack, and you can see here he was put under pressure, Tony Smith, and then when they tried to offload it, it was not the best attempt. And he just kept his cool. Jason Smith desperately trying to get to it, but that's good work there. Farfili. The pressure is on that little halfback here.
And he's sliced it wide. He's not the first to do that in front of the threatening standers, but it's New Zealand ahead by 10 points to 7, and that is the first time the New Zealanders have been ahead in this match so far.
Well, Craig Poucher just, it wasn't the best pass, to be fair. You've got to credit the halfback, kept his cool, and Farfili points to the corner. And he'll be enjoying that, and why not? It's always great to score a try in the first game on a tour. Helps lift you and your teammates.
Well, Henry Farfili hasn't played in the Test match this year against the Australians in Wellington. But Gary Freeman said that every one of his players had the opportunity to push a claim for a place in the Tests. And he was telling me before the match he's expecting a really tough series against Great Britain. And here now is Michael Smith again. How would he love to be taking part in that series?
Well, to be fair, the Great Britain players are really in top form. Lots of Cunningham and Sculthorpe, Farrell, they're all hitting the straps at the right time, aren't they?
Yes, and Richard Horne, I think he will figure large in David Waite's plans. Wouldn't surprise me, Steve-O, if they gave Richard Horne the #1 jersey with Radlinski and Wellens seemingly out of the series. This is Richard Swain.
Well, he's handled that position several times, hasn't he, throughout this season?
Ohio with the kick over the top, but well watched on that occasion by Matt Crowther.
I must say, throughout the year, you know, Matt Crowther, not just for his goal-kicking prowess, Eddie, but he reads the game ever so well. Not many kickers get the better of him.
Jason Smith struggling to his feet. Vangenaar working hard at marker, bringing Graham Mackay down. I'll say Vangenaar is a much more complete player than he was when he was at Warrington. That's a good drive in, though. Here is Jackson. Oh, a mistake by Tony Smith again. Well, the mistakes, I'm afraid, now coming thick and fast for Hull.
Well, it was always going to be a bit of a problem with this Hull side. As we find with a lot of the British teams, Eddie, is that, you know, the final quarter, we're quite used to a capitulation, aren't we?
Yes, I'm sure it's something that David Waite will be working on with the Great Britain side when he gets them together eventually. Here come the New Zealanders again. And there is David Waite, the British coach. A very interested spectator here at the Boulevard tonight, and getting some clues, no doubt. Although some wonderful players still to return for the New Zealanders. Not least of them, of course, who will be in his sights, I'm sure. Robbie Paul of the Bulls. And Jerry Siu is lurking as well. Players that I'm sure you have enjoyed watching on Sky Sports during the course of the past summer, as New Zealand Warriors have taken the competition really by storm.
Well, David Waite pretty confident that he can produce that, and that's a silly play there by Lee Jackson.
Stacey Jones as well, of course, the captain of this touring team.
Just getting back to the Great Britain coach, Eddie, is the fact that he feels pretty confident because he reckons that the Kiwis, when they are put under pressure, they come up with far too many errors, and we've seen already in this opening game that they want to force the pass, they want to be pretty, but sometimes you just got to do hard work to get into the swing of things.
Well, they're doing some hard work now, and here is Richard Swain, and Swain attacking the line. Michael Smith was lurking then. Logan Swan is the man in at dummy half. They are 5 metres away, and here is Stephen Kearney. Good tackling though by Paul Cook. Now Michael Smith again. What would he give for a try in his international debut for New Zealand? So close. And that is Tupi. Not the best pass on the bounce. This is Vangenaar, got in front of Mackay. Great pass as well away to Guttenbeil.
And that's the flair that I was talking about. They do take the risks.
This is the last one. And there's the dab through, and Vangenaar was after it, and well, Adam Marr did his job.
Pretty heavy tackle there from O'Hire. Didn't like it either.
Well, we saw David Waite. Here's his first lieutenant watching for us, Phil Clark.
I'll tell you one thing that I am noticing here, the Hull side, they're not playing particularly well, but they're certainly being helped by the vociferous crowd behind them. I'll tell you what as well, as many fans can get along to support Great Britain, it'll be all the better for them. I know that the players in particular want to show that they're better than the side that played against Australia. And with a support like this behind them, it's an absolutely fantastic feeling for the players.
Yes, hear to that. If you love your rugby league, you love your international game, get along to those 3 tests if you possibly can, and give Great Britain all the support that they deserve. The venue's Blackburn and Huddersfield and Wigan. Well, runs from dummy half, and New Zealand, well, they've been punishing from there, haven't they? Beetham and Swain.
But full credit, though, to this whole defence. You know, the first and second markers, it shows you the ability to force them down. And that's not easy. It's an international quality side, like the Kiwis.
There's Jackson. Gets the pass away. And wide again it goes. And this is Sean Ryan, looking to offload Ryan.
Did well to hang on to it there, the second rower.
It's the last one. This set of 6, Tony Smith. A dab through, big chase on here.
Play on.
No, it's still 5. Still 5 according to the referee. Vailiki picks it up, and he's back in the field of play.
That's good work there by the Parramatta fullback, Vailiki. Kept his cool. Is that a big match?
Stand square.
And it's Hull now penalised for not standing square at the play of the ball.
Well, I think the Kiwis will be quite happy just to slow things down. A little bit excited to put forward Craig Greenhill. Well, I'm not so sure he moved away. I think probably the culprit was the substitute Paul Cook rather than this fella. Well, this has been a real good opening workout for the Kiwis.
It has, just what they wanted.
Yeah. And they haven't won this yet.
Too clear.
And he knows it.
Rahihi plays the ball. Richard Swain. This now Logan Swan.
3. Let's go. Let's go. Here we go.
Swain again. Oh, not the best and the tidiest play the ball. The play on, says the referee. And here's Rahihi again. Offloads to Motu Tony. And wide they go. And wide they go. That's brilliant hands. Well, you can see what they're capable of, and they've dropped off the tackle hole, and Tony makes some more ground.
Struggling to get back, quite a few of them, very slow indeed, but they slowed the play the ball down sufficiently
This is Stephen Kearney. He looks wide and finds Gutenbiel. No, he doesn't. Goes over his head and finds Swan. Finds Vangenaar. Vangenaar's backed himself. And Vangenaar, did he get there? The referee wants to check because Crowther's come up with it. Crowther's come up with the ball, but the referee wants to check whether Vangenaar had the pace.
Kick the ball.
Well, he certainly got there in time. Whether he had the downward pressure, we'll soon find out. Either way, it was Crowther that took the ball over the Dinning goal line. They're all onside.
And he backs himself anyway. It's Vangenaar who kicks it and Vangenaar who chases it. So no problem about onside, offside here. What's he looking at this for?
Well, he's just making sure, that's all.
This is the crucial one.
Misses it.
I think he got it.
I don't.
Watch his right hand, the bandage on the right hand. There.
Well, the first one was given, remember?
That's a try.
Yep.
Well, he's not 100% convinced, but I don't think this is going to tell him. I think the other angle is better.
Yeah. Well, it was the same with Vialicki, wasn't it? He certainly had the wrist onto it. Yeah, he'll give it. You're right, Eddie.
Yes, that was the bandaged arm of Nigel Vangenaar.
Well, I'm not that confident. Yeah, I'm not really confident, but I'll stake the old push bike. I wouldn't go the full hog with the house and the pool, but
you're down the bike now.
I'm afraid so.
You've had a bad year, old boy, haven't you? Well, Jerry Kershaw is not as convinced as you or I.
Oh yeah, that's a try.
I agree.
Slow it down, yeah.
Mind you, we did say that a wee while ago, but still, you've got to be 100% sure.
It'll be TRY.
Vangenaar hopes, and it's given. Try for Nigel Vangenaar. That's what he's done. That's what he does so well, the Canterbury Bulldog. He's had a great season down under, and he's a real threat in the tests.
Well, they got the link working, didn't they? It was a beautiful pass eventually from Kearney, even though it bounced and bobbled all over it. And as Eddie mentioned, he took the gamble. They're entertaining. You've got to say that about this outfit. And the sliding defence just went across. They forgot to check him. Nothing the Crowther could do about it. And much to the chagrin of this boulevard crowd, the try was given, and rightly so.
Lance O'Haya. And this time he finds the mark, despite the barracking from the threatening stand. 16-7 now, the Kiwis lead. Been a brave effort from Hull. It's not over yet, by the way.
Well, the young halfback O'Haya and the try scorer Nigel Vangenaar. This will be a big experience for him. Of course, he's been here that done that, but the youngster, little halfback O'Haya, will be wondering what on earth has hit him. It's a wonderful experience to come and play here and play down that right-hand side in front of the North Threepney stand. They're pretty vocal down there.
Content.
Untidy at the kick-off.
Here you go. Wait. How to clear! Out.
And this is a moment in the match where superior fitness will certainly tell.
Well, it'd be difficult to decide which of them should be fitter. They haven't played Hull for a wee while, and the same must be said of the majority of this New Zealand side. They've gone for the 40-20 here, though, but he hasn't got it quite right, the angle, and so Crowther can run it back for Hull now.
And yet again we see the winger in a perfect position. He's got the most amazing radar as this Matt Crowther. As I said earlier, these very few kickers can turn him around and catch him out.
Logan, good run from Scott Logan. Kearney did well. The job was finished off by Kalis.
Kearney tried to reef that ball.
Jason Smith, Adam Marr, wrapped up by Vangenaar and also by this Lance O'Haya.
We haven't seen much from Jason Smith in the line of throwing the dummy.
Mackay with a kick down the line looking for Crowther. Vialicki comes across and picks it up. Oh, and he's got some pace, this fellow.
He's quality.
Clear
No doubt about that.
Here's your marks. Wait, Jacko. Wait, Paula, wait.
And here is Henry Fafili.
Well, I'm sure that Gary Freeman, the Kiwi coach, Eddie, would have be happy with the fact that it has been a tough encounter. They didn't want one-way traffic.
No,
it would have been misleading to them.
It's exactly what they wanted. Good drive forward again by Rahihi. Actually, this programme, you know, that is building up to the Test matches, it's doing the New Zealanders a great favour. It's getting them home, ready for Great Britain. Good chase by Kearney. Survivor of the last tour to England and France in 1993. The longest serving player, the number 17 for the New Zealanders, Stephen Kearney, and still one of the best.
And Richard Horne has picked up a knock. Let's hope that not another injury that maybe dismantle the Great Britain squad.
Quarter of the match remaining. New Zealand with their noses in front. Great Britain against New Zealand. That first test is Saturday, November the 9th. It's at 6 o'clock. It's at Ewood Park, Blackburn, the home of Blackburn Rovers.
And we saw the defence.
That man there, David Waite, will be naming his team in the week of that test match. And as Phil Clark said, it is almost incumbent on every rugby league supporter in this country to get behind Great Britain. And it'll be a great test series. That's a good dink over the top, by the way. Well picked up, though, well spotted by Pulatuya. And this international rule, Steve-o, the interchange rule, 4 players on the bench, 12 changes allowed. It is crucial in a match like this where the two sides are just a little bit rusty after long layoffs.
Well, it certainly has helped, and as we mentioned in the first half, that quite a lot of the coaches here in this country, they would like to see that involved and brought into play for next season. Whether that is the case or not, we'll have to wait and see.
Well, he's still barking his instructions down, Sean McRae. He hasn't given this game up yet. And here is Tupi. That's a good ball wide. And this is the winger, Melly. And Melly is waiting for support, and it arrives from Tupi.
Good cover defence there. Wonderful play by Richard Hall. But they were very slow in the second phase, the Kiwis.
Here they come now, though, with Hohaya. And wide it goes to Guttenbeil. And Guttenbeil has backed himself. He's got the man out wide who steps inside. It's a try. It's a try for Fafili. Second try of the match for Henry Fafili. And that was a sweeping move down the left, and they had the courage and the commitment to keep it going from one side of the field to the other. And Henry Fafili comes up with his second try on the tour.
Wonderful play, quick play of the ball, they got it out wide, and you can see the big centre there. Tupi got him away, and there was a case where there was very slow to back up Melly, the winger. But once they got the link across here, there was always going to be trouble. Sliding defence, just couldn't get through him. Tony Smith went a little bit too high. A bullet pass there by Guttenbeil, but it was sufficient to give the winger Fafili the opportunity. Once you have the sliding defence go across like that, you've got to make sure you make the mark. Tony Smith failed to, and that's the reason why there's a big grin on this fella. Not this fella. I'm sure he'll be smiling if he can convert this one.
Test debut against Australia earlier this month. For the New Zealand Warriors, this young man plays. Drifting the kick over, and he has managed it. 22 points to 7, New Zealand over Hull. And you feel it's an uphill battle now for the home side to end their days here at the Boulevard with a victory.
As I mentioned, it was always going to be the big problem, but full credit to this whole side. Remember, Richard Horne came back, and sliding defence there just went out of shape. Tony Smith took the gamble. He impressed me, this fella, Mr. Fafili. And that's the second occasion that they've wanted to set off. And the ball has just bobbled around for Mr. Crowther. Well, all this crowd here, they've got to be very pleased with the effort from the Hull boys.
It's a long time, though, since they have cheered a victory. Last win here was against Wigan, but what a win it was in August. 26-18, arguably one of their best performances of the season. But since then, it's been pretty grim fare for the Hull fans. 4 straight defeats at the end of the campaign to bow out of the playoffs. of course, as well.
And you can see now that quite a few of the tackles from Hull are just falling off the man carrying the football. Sure sign of
That's inventive.
bit of fatigue.
That's inventive, but it was very well watched by Lee Jackson.
In the sweeping position, the hooker, Jackson, did it well.
This is Adam Marr now, but they're having the devil's own job getting over the halfway line, Hull, with a quarter of an hour to go. And here is Graham Mackay.
Well, with the minutes ticking away, it's difficult for Hull to get out of their own half, mainly due to the fact that the strong wind is against them. But we saw Sean McRae there walking to the sideline. He can feel proud, as all the other players have. Let's not forget that this is a very, very talented New Zealand outfit.
Good ball on the inside, Jackson. He's got Jason Smith with him. He finds Jason Smith, takes the return as well. Matt Crowther is there. And Matt Crowther runs into trouble, and Jason Smith is down. And he's clutching the shoulder, I think.
Oh, don't tell me. It's the elbow again, Eddie.
Goes wide to Cook. Oh, interception. Plucked out of the air with ease. And is this Francis Melly? It is. Francis Melly is going to stroll over under the posts. Well, he's going to walk it in under the posts. And he will touch it down with one hand. And Francis Melly picked it out then, just like picking the fruit off the tree. Francis Melly. A little nod from Gary Freeman. And it's been a very good start now when you look at that scoreline to this tour of Great Britain.
And there's one thing that this Kiwi outfit do have, and that is very much speed. This is the build-up from Jackson. And this is where I think Smith picks up a knock. They threw him down, and I think it might be the elbow again. But full credit to the Kiwis, they came back and he just read this. Watch this. Thank you. Mr. Melly sets off. And Mr. Melly knows that he's on the telly.
I wondered how long it would be.
Well, though I think Mr. Freeman will say, let's get on with it, boys, and put that ball down with one hand. No. He could have dropped that and really made a fool of himself.
Sweet.
He didn't. But imagine someone doing that in a test match.
I don't think that would happen.
No.
Lance O'Hire then from bang in front. He adds the extras. 28 points to 7 now. And Jason Smith has got major problems. And that is a sad picture. That's the saddest picture of the night. And this time it's his wrist.
Well, he's been in the wars, hasn't he? It's, you can see there. And maybe he's got a stamp with a stray boot as he goes down in back play. You can see the claret. Well, he's a tough cookie. And you can see the stitches at the right eye. A lot of people surprised, Eddie, that they actually played Jason.
Well, he was fit, 100% fit. The only ones who weren't were Gareth Rayner, who's gone to Leicester anyway, and Gareth Carvell. That's a good kick-off.
They'll get the ball back.
And they have. Now chances here for Hull to give the 12,000 crowd something to think about. Ryan to Paul King. But with David Waite in the stand, there's one man who is trying to impress. Jackson, Tony Smith, Richard Horne, here's another to impress. Adam Marr was a good ball too. But the Kiwis now don't want them to score another try. Tony Smith waits. Paul Cook thought about the offload, took the tackle, but they're 2 meters away. Jackson. Mackay missed it, and that was, I'm afraid, lack of communication. Guttenbeil picks up, and a shake of the head from Sean McRae.
Well, they're taking a leaf out the book of the Kiwis, what they did in the first half, trying to keep this ball alive in impossible situations.
Violicki's just done that to Motu Tony.
Well, he's been the start of the show as far as I'm concerned, the New Zealand fullback Violicki.
This is Guttenbeil.
Though there's been some powerful play by the forwards from both sides too.
Oh, big hit by Scott Logan on Kalis.
Jacko, let's go.
Well, they certainly know they've been hit hard by the opposition, and they know they're on a tour here.
They do, but when they get to the pace of this tour completely, there will be some side And they're playing it around now, and that was unlucky. Vanganar flicked off him, but Mackay picked up gratefully.
Once again, forcing the ball. They're great to watch. So exciting.
Hands out, clear.
And maybe perhaps a little bit too exciting for their coach. And that's something that I mentioned earlier in regards to David Waite.
Keep working, guys, keep working, stay.
He's pretty confident that they can turn them over.
Well, all the Great Britain players are desperate to get the jersey back on after that defeat in Australia in July. They're not as bad as that result indicates, and they want to prove that point. Last 10 here at the Boulevard, the last 10 minutes in 107 years of rugby league on this ground. That's a good little break from Cook. Wide it goes and on the bounce, and picked up out there by Poucher.
Did well to stay in then.
Last tackle here, this set of 6. Tony Smith running at them, dab over the top and collected, but I think that's Greenhill who's on. No, it wasn't, it was Richard Horne. Blimey, not that big Richard Horne, but he stood up well then.
Pretty solid as well. Neat attempt. It's been the best ploy throughout this match tonight for the whole side. I mentioned at half-time that no less than 6 kicks, obviously a tactic by this fella, in the opening 5 minutes, and it really gave them a flying start, didn't it?
Well, can they come home now with a wet sail and give their supporters something to shout about? This is Greenhill now. That is Greenhill. Richard Horne there, the bottom of the screen. The dummy half, though, was Paul Cook. And here now is Richard Fletcher.
A bit of a sentimentalist, you know, Eddie. I think it would be nice if a whole player scored the last try ever.
Mackay looking to be that man. Mackay looking to be that man. Flick the ball back. Oh, he can pick it up, he can. And that is Ohaya. And he's flicked it inside. And who's won this battle of the big men?
Well, Michael Smith thinks he has.
It's a whole ball, says the referee as we watch.
Well, they had the opportunity, they also had the numbers.
Crowther did well then.
Got a swinging arm as well from...
It was from
the big Guttenbill, wasn't it?
Or Rahihi.
He's
That
lost
ball's
it.
come free.
Oh, 2-on-1.
No, he's...
Shout it out, mate. Shout it out, the ball came out.
Well, they'll kick this into the corner.
Well, the referee shouted held and the ball came out, and that's why the referee's given the penalty for stripping.
And no doubt about it either.
Okay.
Rahihi, the culprit.
Oh, big hit though there on Greenhill. And that was Richard Swain leading the charge. And also there was Kalis.
There's been some real crunching defence here on show.
Well, it's exactly what the Kiwis wanted.
Yeah, it's been a delight to watch, actually.
Here's Cook. Cook! He's got support from Mackay this time, maybe. No, held up. Good defence.
Good work from Ohaya. Little halfback, not the biggest person.
Jackson, the shot out of the line looking for Cook, picked up off the knees, off the ankles rather, somehow by Greenhill. This is Jackson again, on the bounce it goes, a stab through, and gobbled up by the defence. Well picked up by Bialicki.
He's been solid, especially they put the kick through. Got caught out a couple of times in the first half, but maybe we can put it down to just this side being somewhat rusty.
Well, it's just the workout that the New Zealanders would have wanted, Phil Clark.
It is, yeah, spirited performance from the whole players, but I expect most of them will be heading to the travel agents in the morning looking for a break somewhere in the sun after a pretty tough season, and a very impressive one too from them. With regard to the Kiwis, I think basically David Vialecki and the outside backs has really lifted them. When they've been in trouble near their own line, the three quarters have scooted so well from Acton Arpak, it's got them onto a roll, and then the big forwards have followed on from that. Also, I think Richard Swain's looked pretty dangerous. Look how he just darts around that dummy half position and gets them going forward.
Crowther made a play for that, and that's interestingly dribbling its way towards the sideline, but he managed to pick it up. It's a good chase though by the tourists.
And that's about the first mistake we've seen from Matt Crowther. But they're looking very tired now, and I think both sides are feeling the effort.
Here you go.
And they brought about by the the defence from both sides at times has been cruel.
It has, and it continues on by the New Zealanders.
Stay, Michael, wait.
Greenhill, ooh, and that was nearly a mistake by Logan, and he just looked over his shoulder then to Greenhill. Here is Paul King. Good tackling low down though by Richard Swain. That's the last one, this set of 6. They're going to have to kick to get out of trouble here. Oh, and Smith clattered and didn't like it. He didn't like it.
Go on, fighters, guys.
He certainly swung the arm.
Nice and easy. Okay, okay.
To Beetham in amongst it. He's a tough character, and it's amazing all the years that I've seen Tony Smith play, the amount of hammer that they've given him over the years.
Well, I think if there's one player in the New Zealand side I wouldn't pick on, it might be Monty Beetham. He's made a granite, mind you, that was a bit high.
It was a bad one, and Tony Smith took offence.
Overrun the head, right? It is a penalty against New Zealand. Look at your technique, mate, and get it right for next time. Away you go.
Get it right for next time. Technique. He knows it.
It was a bit high. Tough as teak, though, this fella.
Hasn't had many opportunities throughout the season either. Little doubt he swung the arm.
This now is Craig Greenhill. In Australia's Super League team, beaten by New Zealand in 1997 was Greenhill. He's going to be in the Hull side, beaten by New Zealand in 2002. Jackson the dummy half. Logan to drive it in.
Well, the message from Gary Freeman will be quite simple. We do not let them score. As simple as that.
Well, one or two tempers getting frayed now. Here's Tony Smith. Paul Cook. Oof. Well, he went down.
Yes, okay.
And he got a real clattering then from Ruben Wiki. Got up and played the ball, and Tony Pugliatuya was all round him.
Wait. Stay,
and that was Adam Marr, who looks and says, where did he come from? Here's Tony Smith. A stab down the line from Tony Smith. Picked up by the winger, Melly. Offside, offside.
He was in front of this kicker. You've got to allow him the 10 metres. Failed to do that. Well, the crowd not happy. They obviously want the Hull player to bring down the curtain on this wonderful stadium. So many memories, so many great players. I'm not so sure that he was in front, but either way, they've got the benefit of the doubt.
Brave effort from Hull, though.
Certainly is, and Sean McRae knows that he will be part of the history.
And people will be wondering, Steve, why this match has begun the New Zealand tour up here on the Humber side. Well, there are very strong links between Hull and the Kiwis. After the 1980 tour, Hull signed James Lulai, Dane O'Hara, Gary Kemble, who is here tonight, and they later added Fred Arcoy, who joined them from North Sydney. And that was the start of the Hull glory days. They won the Cup, the First Division title the following year, and they were all involved in that 1985 Classic Wembley final against Wigan. And of course, it's also the match that brings the curtain down on this famous old rugby league ground, the Boulevard, which will be apparently used for junior football. The big team, the team we're watching in all white tonight, normally plays in black and white, but obvious colour clash. That's why they've produced this commemorative jersey, and they will be moving across to the brand new stadium.
Well, they've got a few seconds remaining to try to get over that line, and it could very well be. There's a penalty, they'll punch it into the corner. Very well be the youngster Richard Horne will have the pleasure perhaps of saying, I was the last Hull player to score here.
Well, we shall see.
Can they finish?
We shall see. This is Logan! Scott Logan!
What a run from the prop forward.
And how on earth did the Kiwis keep him out?
Monty Beetham, ball and all tackle.
Back this way it comes. Paul King. Good harrying, good defence though by the Kiwis.
Nice and easy, King.
Entering the last minute. They've still got 3 tackles left of Hull. Jackson. Richard Horne. A stab through. Inviting it, but Violecki taking no chances with Tony Smith breathing down his neck.
Well, his coach will be very pleased with the fullback's performance. Violecki is good. As I say, he got caught out early in this match, a little bit rusty. But he'll be happy, Gary Freeman, and rightly so. He wanted a tough encounter, and boy, oh boy, he certainly got that. But he's got the goods, and he knows it. Some strong performances. Prop forward from Canterbury, Rahihi, he's impressed. And the two wingers, of course. A lot of depth, a lot of quality.
Well, this is the last hurrah for Hull. Can they force something? And it's a chip and chase, and over the top it goes. He wants the ball inside. Is it going to be a try? It is, to the winger Parker. Paul Parker comes up with a try. That's the last try that will ever be scored on this famous ground, and how fitting that Parker, one of the young breed, Paul Parker, comes up with a try over on the far side that will go down in history as the last one ever to be scored on this ground, and it's scored by one of the traditional black and whites.
And not surprisingly, it's come from the kick. And the winger went in and out. We've been praising the fullback Vialicki, and I'm sure that David Waite would have seen this. Chip over the top. Oh, what a good take. Through the dummy. Just punched him away. That will not have impressed Gary Freeman, but you can write it in the history books now. There's the last major Hull player in top grade to score a try here, and it is a fitting end. That's the reason why Sean McRae has got a smile on his dial, and Gary Freeman was a character as a player. They say he's still a character as a coach. Knows the game inside out, and he said, I can't believe it.
Well, here's an impressive moment. The last chance for Lee Jackson to get on the score sheet. It's his last game for Hull. This will be his last kick for Hull.
He'll get it. No,
he won't. He's not renowned as a goal kicker, Lee Jackson. But Hull will take the consolation of being the last team to score on this great ground. But to Gary Freeman and the Kiwis, the spoils. But in years to come, Paul Parker will be the subject of quiz questions. Of that, I'm sure. And Lee Jackson says farewell to Hull and to the game. And, well, I wonder whether he will go into retirement or whether there is still more to come from Lee Jackson. But Paul Parker has scored the last try on this ground for Hull, coached by Sean McRae. Jackson couldn't manage to add the conversion, but the Hull flag, the club established in 1865, they moved in here at the Boulevard in 1895, and the very last try after 107 years fittingly goes to a Hull player.
Skipper for the night, could have been hero for the night with that touchline conversion. It was asking a bit much, wasn't it? Into the wind.
Yeah, just a little bit, but it was a good night, and it's a well worth ending for the career of myself and at the Boulevard.
Well, it must have been difficult. I mean, you've had a couple of weeks off. Well, I wouldn't say off, you have been training, but to come back and to face a team like this, it was hard work.
Yeah, it was hard work, but it was a good preparation, and we thought we had a chance of winning, but it wasn't to be.
What about this farewell to the Boulevard tonight?
It's been good, yeah. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed my career here, and I wish all the boys all the best for next season.
All the best to you, Lee. Thanks a lot.
Thanks very much.
Thanks very much, Bill. Let's just round up and wrap up this emotional night at the Boulevard. Hull have lost by 28 points to 11, but they've won many friends, and Paul Parker, of course, scored the last ever try on this ground. How fitting that it was that a Hull player came up with the goods in the last minute and gave the 12,000 crowd here something to shout about. Well, that's the first match of the Kiwis tour. Of course, it's all building to the test matches. And Steve-O, I don't think that was the test team that we saw from New Zealand. But having said that, it just shows how much depth Gary Freeman has got to select from.
Oh, without a doubt, and he'll be very, very pleased that it was a tough encounter. You need that on a touring match like that. They've got to get off to that lovely flying start. They did that. It was a struggle. Full credit to Hull. I think it was fitting that Parker scored the last try. You know, I'm a bit of a sentimentalist, and I think it's great. Good crowd, and as I said before the start of the game, that let's hope that they walk that quarter of a mile across. We'd like to see 12, 13, 15,000. They love their rugby league football here. But I tell you what, Gary Freeman will be very, very pleased indeed. But I must say, they keep this ball alive, which will give plenty of opportunities for Great Britain, especially Sean Long.
And reminder that on Friday, we're back with the second match of this Kiwi tour. We'll be at the home of the C19.